Hello everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Wolfie Bane, your host for today, and we are back doing another Pokemon very biased type tier list today. How dare, fantastic day, fantastic time, fantastic evening, and a fantastic life right now. Everybody, I'm back, I'm here, and I'm ready to talk about some video games. Hey, hope you're having a lovely day. One moment, what the hell? One moment, I was getting an error on the page. Is it okay? Yeah, I fixed it. Fuck it. Oh, well. Hey, how you doing? Hope you're having a lovely day. I've had honestly, it's not been great. I've been a little bit ill over the past couple of days, and it's kind of taking its toll. But hey, I'll manage and I'll power through as always. As I said during the Lancer game yesterday, even monsters get sick, but I'll be fine. I did have a good weekend, though. Altera was awesome. The Lancer game that I'm in on Sundays was an absolute blast and a ton of fun. So, yeah. I had a good weekend, but yeah, a bit ill has not helped. I think I ate something a bit odd. I was cooking my normal foods, but one of the lemons I was using for, like, garnish for fried food and stuff was a little bit too overripe, which meant it just tasted really sickly. And I've been ill ever since that meal, so I think I got a little bit of food poisoning from that. I think it was a little bit past it, and I'll be more careful next time. That's the main bit. Yeah. Well, as a heads up, it will definitely not happen today, but there is a small chance I will have to break stream for some reason, or not stream in the next couple of days, because a friend of mine is moving, and I've basically went, if they need any help for anything, just give me a call pretty much any time. So very, very, very unlikely, but you never know, right? Always best to be prepared. Basically for the next couple of days. So I doubt I'll be called, but you never know, right? I am one of the points of need an extra hand or an extra car to just move something. Just for a couple days. But yeah, not for today. Today is the type tier list. So we are doing fighting type today. A very good type. A type that I've said for a while. I like the fighting type more than most of the fighting type Pokemon. Now that's not saying that they're bad. In terms of my likes for them. There's a lot of very, very good fighting types, and there's a lot of really cool fighting types. But fighting types, for me, it took them a little bit to really get how they wanted fighting types to be. Is what I've always said. Yep. Fighting types always felt like me. One of the types that got significantly better in most cases, the later into Pokemon we get. Like, I was never a huge fan of, like, a lot of the really early gen fighting types. They were fine, design-wise. They had some vibes about them, but I wouldn't say any of them is, like, super, super positive. And there were some absolutely awful ones that I really, really dislike. But I think around, personally for me, around Gen 3 was where they started to click. That's what I'll always I've had a personal thought for. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I always think Gen 3 is where they started to figure out what they wanted to do for fighting types. And they didn't just make them... Hey, speaking of Amazon, thank you for the sub, buddy, for the 2 months. It's greatly appreciated, bud. Ooh, excuse me. So, yeah. Yeah, fighting types this week. And yeah, Gen 3 onwards, I thought, not in every case. There are some of my least favorites around there as well. But, the vast majority, like Hariyama and Blaziken and things, they really started to cook. Like, Heracross is fine. Yeah, I'll get into that when I get to it. But they started to get a lot better. The later they go. Like, there's still a lot of, like, middling ones around the middle gens, but when you start getting to some of the late ones, like Gen 6 onwards, like, you get some real winners. So, yeah. You don't care what I say? Oh, okay. I'll do that. I'll do that later then. But first up, Mankey, the OG fighting type. Most people probably ran one of these to beat Brock on their first attempt. Because if you played Pokemon Fire Red, you could get a Mankey before Brock. And you could get it low kick. And that was pretty much one of the best ways to get past Brock in that game. If you started with Charmander, of course. Which I obviously did. Because I picked the correct choice in Kanto. But yeah. I really like Mankey. For Mankey was like... It was a weird one. So, I would have, a few years ago, definitely ranked this as a lower Pokemon. I like it. It was probably my favorite. It's almost certainly my favorite line of monkey Pokemon. But I wouldn't have created it crazy high, because as much as I like the look of the Pokemon, the design is fantastic. It's simple, but in like a really good way. And it's a timeless Pokemon for its design. And its vibe and everything about that. Mankey is a really, really cool one. So I will give Mankey a solid B tier. The reason why it gets a B tier is it got significantly better in Gen 9. And everybody knows why. But Mankey up to Primeape, I was happy to use one for the early game. In old Pokemon's, like, Fire Red and Leaf Green and all that stuff. Oh, yeah. So I had a hard time coming up with it, so I literally just went, it's good ways to get protein. That was about it. I hadn't got a good one. I've been ill for the past couple of days, so I haven't been doing properly. I didn't have the energy, so I went, fuck it, that'll do. So with S tier, we've got sirloin steak. A tier, we've got avocado. B tier, we have bacon. C tier, we've got chicken. D, we've got deli meat. And E, we've got egg fruit. For reference, this isn't what's my favorite. I think it's just a better way of getting them. I don't 100% know if avocado is a better way to get it than bacon. But I know that avocado is good. And I like avocado anyway. So I do like steak a ton. I love avocado. I love bacon. And I love chicken. So deli meat's fine. Like, I like ham off the bone. That's the best deli meat for me. Or tongue. Ox tongue is great. Don't knock it till you try it. Also, if you want my recommendation for how to eat ox tongue correctly, to make it, like, really, really pop, get some tiger bread, put a ton of butter on it, and then just chuck the ox tongue in the middle of it. And that's all you need. That is a fantastic sandwich right there. Yeah. Oh, yeah, ox tongue is fantastic. Exactly. Glad we agree. And yeah, Primeape kind of goes in the same tier, I think, as Mankey. I prefer Mankey's design slightly. But Primeape is also sick. I love the... Again, for all the same reasons I like Mankey, I like Primeape. Genuinely. They're just really, really cool. Great design. Angry little bastard. And I love them. I do really like them. They're not going to get into a super higher tier because I know what's coming later. Is the main reason. But I think they are very respectable, and there's no real bad time to use one. In, like, if you play the old games, you can definitely make Primeape do some serious work for you. It's not one of the strongest. There's better mons in the old games, specifically. Never been the biggest corned beef guy, but I get it. I absolutely get it. My one would for it. Cucumber's fantastic on it as well, yeah. My one is... I've had this one before, where it's my, like, more personal to me one. Tiger bread, butter, ox tongue, lettuce, cucumber, Tabasco sauce. That's one that I really, really like. I am a big fan of that. Specifically Tabasco. Like, a lot of other chili sauces don't really work too well with ox tongue, I've noticed. But Tabasco goes quite well. Oh, nice. Not a wholemeal guy, personally. I prefer terrible bread. I prefer white bread. But I do like, if I had to say what's my favorite sandwich... Oh, yeah, I love tiger bread. That's a big one. If I had to say what my favorite sandwich is, and this is a weird one, it would be just a very simple ham and cheese... not ham and cheese. Ham salad sandwich. Lettuce and cucumber and carrot being the specific ones. On a fresh baguette. With ham off the bone. I'd say that is my favorite sandwich. But it has to be, like, really, like, just done. Like, a fresh baguette. That, or the same, but replace the ham off the bone with, like, roasted chicken. That kind of sweet, a little bit spiced roast chicken. Something like that. Like a fresh one. That's for me. I love just quite simple sandwiches, honestly. Nothing too crazy. Okay, Polyrath. I don't mind Polyrath. I'd say that's the best description I can really give it. I'm not the biggest fan in the world of it. It's eh. But I would say it's one of those ones, it's like, I'm not upset about getting a Polyrath as the option, right? I've used it. It's been pretty fun to use. It's pretty tanky. It can do a bit of damage. It's not going to do anything insane, but you can do some work with a Polyrath if you really put your mind to it, and it is fine. It's decent for setup and things. Yeah, it's got a very cool design. It does have a cool design I do actively like. Polyrath is my favorite of the polys. Needs a mega. I'd be down to see a Mega Polyrath. I think Polyrath would be a cool Mega. Polytoad is obviously the best of the Poly line. Because it gets Drizzle. That's literally the only reason. But Polyrath, I always preferred Polyrath. Because Polyrath's kind of got a fun, like, brawler kind of vibe. It's supposed to be a sumo wrestler, I believe. Is what it originally was designed around. Sumo wrestling or judo or something. I can't remember. I know all the originals fighting types were designed after a martial arts style. I couldn't tell you what they are, for reference. Or maybe it was like judo, maybe it was a professional wrestler or something. I can't remember. But Polyrath was something. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, I can't remember. I remember seeing a list of like, oh, these are what they are. Can't for the life of me remember. Oh, outside of the obvious, too. Wait a minute. I've just realized one of these Pokemon are in the wrong spot. I've said before, I try my very, very best to get these tier lists up to snuff before stream, but there's only so much, and I do occasionally miss things. And this tier list had its own problem, that I was looking for a new tier list because of this shenanigan, which we'll get to later. But yeah, Polyrath, I'd say Polyrath, for me, is C tier. Not bad, but not good either. Like, I'd say Polyrath is probably the exact benchmark for average Pokemon for me. Like, I don't really have any strong feelings about it. I don't dislike it, nor do I particularly like it. But it's just fine. I would say it's a solid benchmark, just okay Pokemon. Okay. Next up, we have the Machop line. I'm gonna put all of these into B tier. Including G-Max, which I do think G-Max goes pretty hard. I would actually love a regional form of Machamp. Genuinely. I think regional Machamp would go pretty hard. I'm not expecting it at any point because we got a G-Max, so they've already, like, reignited something about the Pokemon before. But Machamp is Machop, Machoke, and Machamp. They're another one that I've not crazy used because of, not having friends as a kid, so not being able to get Machamp. was judo, was it? Yeah, Machamp was wrestling, okay. Oh yeah, of course. Hitmonlee's multi, Hitmonchan is boxing. Yep, makes sense. But yeah. I do like this line. Oh yeah, Hariyama Suma, but Hariyama comes a lot later, doesn't it? So that doesn't really count. Because all the Gen 1 fighting types had the specific, this is their vibe. They kind of regressed later on. Heracross, I believe, is a rhinoceros beetle. They're just fighting. They just fight a lot. They're very, like, aggressive towards each other. Which it makes sense. But yeah, Machamp's cool, and I like the whole, like, they're fun. They are fun. I've used them a little bit before, and they've got, obviously, Guts is fantastic. No Guard is hilarious. Gen 1, No Guard, Fisher, like, bring what was it? Gen 3, a Gen 1 Pokemon brought forwards. Because Machamp could get Fisher in Gen 1, and then when they added abilities in Gen 3, it got No Guard, meaning that since you could bring Pokemon forwards back in those days, you could have a No Guard Fisher Machamp. I would love that. Or just a regional. I think we need a regional Heracross, to be honest. I think, to be honest, Pinsir's kind of supposed to be it, but it doesn't really, like, click, right? But yeah, I generally like the Machamp line. It's a fun line. I love using those things either as No Guard or Guts. But there's Pokemon I prefer to use both of those with. But they are a classic, right? They're a good Pokemon with a good ability. The problem is they're slow as dirt. These things are so monumentally slow. They're kind of tough. Like, they can take a hit. And they're good Pokemon. Like, I don't think you're ever crazy upset about getting them. Particularly not in, like, early gens. Like, I would be quite fine getting in the monotype run when I ever eventually get around to it. To getting a Machamp. Like, Machamp will be, like, the benchmark. This is a solid Pokemon. If I get it in an early gen. Because in Pokemon, I believe you can get these pretty much anywhere. Outside of Gen 5, I'm pretty sure. I think you can find it in Gens 1 through 4 somewhere if you look hard enough. In Pokemon most specifically. But yeah, they're pretty cool. Galarian Farfetch'd is a weird one. I like it significantly more than regular Farfetch'd. I've actually said that. I think that making Farfetch'd a fighting type was and giving it like a big weapon is was kind of an inspired idea. I genuinely like it. Galarian Farfetch'd, I'll put you about here. I'd say you're fine. You're pretty cool. I'm gonna put the Hitmons. I'm just gonna give it this. About here. Actually, no. I'll put you both in top of C tier. Actually, no. I put Champ at the top of C tier at the moment, and Lee I'll put on B. They need to do something with these two Pokemon for me. They have a vibe. They do have a vibe, and they're pretty cool. But my god, are they just kind of bad? Like, you can make Hitmonchan work, and you can make Hitmonlee work. Like, Unburden Hitmonlee is pretty good. Iron Fist with, like, a bunch of good punching moves. Hitmonchan can do work. I get that. So yeah, they are good Pokemon in their own right. Yeah, Iron Fist Power Up Punch, Iron Fist Muck Punch. In the current game, they've literally added a new item called the Punching Glove, which increases punching moves by a little bit and means they no longer make contact for the purposes of, like, effect spore, spikes, like iron barbs, rough skin, all that kind of stuff. So there is a build for it. Unfortunately, the Punching Glove is kind of a bad item. It needs a damage boost. Seriously, Game Freak, give it. Up it. It's like a 10% damage boost. Up it to 20 at least. Come on. It's a very specific set of moves, and it needs to be a bit better. And with Iron Fist buffing up a bit as well, it's like, it can do some damage, but... Yeah, that's what I thought. They need something, and I really hope they do something with them, because they technically got support a bit later on in Gen 2, because obviously they got the pre-evolution, and they got Hitmon top as well. So they technically got some support, but they need something. They've got, like, the Bishop Primate, the Bishop, the Primate thing. They've got the same vibe as all those Pokemon. They are almost cool. Almost. But they need something. If they get a little bit of support and get an evolution would be my bet. Because they're both decent Pokemon, they're not crazy. I think these things could pop off. Or give them a regional form that changes it up a little bit. Like, maybe make Hitmonlee... I don't fucking know. Make Hitmonlee a flying type as well. I don't fucking know. And make Hitmonchan do Thai boxing, and I don't fucking care. Something like that. Yeah, they need something. They need something, and if they get that something, I think they'll be quite good. But they're fine, Pokemon. They're fine. That's all I'll give them. And Hitmonlee, I like a bit more than Hitmonchan. Hitmonlee gets just barely into B. Yes, there is Broken Urshifu. There is Keldeo. And I think that's it. Oh, and Quaquaval. Quaquaval. There's a few Water Fight. Water Fight is a very good combo. Water Fighting is a good combination. Only Quaquaval. Only Quaquaval. Quaquaval, the pre-evolutions aren't fighting types. They don't get it until third. Don't worry, everybody does. Quaquaval's gonna get torn into later, don't worry. I am not a fan of that mom. Okay, Tauros, Tauros, and Tauros. I will say, I adore Spanish Bulls. They are so cool. I've actually... Yeah, I will say this. When I was younger, I generally was on holiday in, I think it was Spain or somewhere. I don't think it was Spain specifically, but it was some country where they do bullfighting. And I actually really enjoyed bullfighting. I will full say, going to a bullfight was genuinely quite enjoyable. I was a little kid at the time. Yes, it's animal cruelty and not a good thing. But I get the appeal. Right? So, yeah, I love the Spanish Bulls, and I think that making the Spanish region and then changing Tauros and giving it a fighting type and going into the like elemental versions for the different breeds of Tauros as well is inspired. And once again, this is what I mean by the later gen fighting types go so hard, genuinely. So what I'm going to do, I am going to put Combat Breed Tauros, the regular Paldean Tauros, in A tier. And it's a comfy A tier. I like this mon a lot. I do enjoy Tauros just generally, as we talked about last week we were talking about it in the normal type tier list. I just like Tauros. Tauros is cool. That's the base Tauros. I like the Combat Breed, or I like this version, the Paldean Tauros, more than that. Particularly, my favorite of these, Flame Tauros. I love Flame Tauros. It's not the best overall. There's better mons. It's a firefighting type that's not a starter, which I will iterate once more for the people at the back. Firefighting is a fine typing. They just need to stop making it starters. There's nothing wrong with the type. Unfortunately, it is outclassed pretty much by, let's face it, mostly Blaziken. But it's kind of outclassed by the firefighting types. But it's a good mod in its own right, and it can do some serious work. Particularly if you're in doubles, and all of these are great. Water Tauros, I haven't used Water Tauros. I believe it's the best one of the three. But I love the design work, and Paldean Fire Tauros. Oh yeah, also there's Paldean Water Tauros, which is a water fighting type as well. Forgot about that. Paldean Tauros goes so hard. I am a big fan of it. Yeah. I actively took such a long time trying to find Alpaldean Fire Tauros in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I wanted that to be the first Tauros I caught. I ended up having to use a sandwich for it. I found it within seconds of using the sandwich. The fire sandwich in the big main fields. Like, they're just, like, uncommon. I was just getting really unlucky. It'd taken me, like, over an hour, and I went, fuck it, I'm just using a sandwich. Then found one within seconds. So... fantastic, mon. Once again, regional variant done right. That's what I'll say about the Paldean Tauros. Paldean Tauros is a regional form done correctly. About as hard as you can. Genuinely. Now for another regional form. Galarian Zapdos. Now, people know I am not a big fan of Zapdos. I think regular Zapdos has a very bad design. I don't really think the spikiness works. I've said before, it looks like a canary just hit a windshield on the motorway. I do not like regular Zapdos. Galarian Zapdos, though, the spikiness works. And let me tell you why. So Galarian Zapdos is a fighting flying type based around a Roadrunner. And Roadrunners are kind of spiky in the design. Like, they're actually not spiky with their feathers. But they have, like, a pattern to them that makes them look kind of spiky. And that's what Galarian Zapdos is. And they went for the vibe of a... just very solid Roadrunner design. Which is very different from the others. And is a big change. I love this thing. Galarian Zapdos is also incredibly fun to use. You always choice it. That's a big one. You always choice either Band or Scarf. It's not got a crazy, like, diverse set of options. It's a perfect choice, mon. It doesn't need setup. It just hits very hard. It's got good moves. Its signature move, Thunderous Kick, is awesome. It just slaps. This mod just slaps. It was for a little while my favorite of all the legendary... We'll get to them. Trust me, when I say there's worse than those two lines. Although they're going to be in a bad tier. But yeah, Galar Zapdos goes so hard. Before I realized how fun Galarian Moltres was, and also kept looking more at Galarian Moltres and just noticing more and more little tweaks from the original, which I really liked. Galar Zapdos... I'd say Galarian Zapdos is my second favorite of all the legendary birds. It is beaten by Galarian Moltres. And Galarian Articuno is immediately behind it. Now, I will say Galarian Articuno has the best shiny, but I will say Galarian Zapdos' shiny goes hard. I'm not usually a fan of yellow Pokemon in general, but the yellow on Galarian Zapdos slaps. Like, it's a really, really good one. As I say, Galarian Zapdos design is just... It's one of the best designs in Pokemon, I will say. For, like, a they cooked concept, it's so good. Same for me. I love Regional Moltres so much. Galar Moltres goes so hard. I also love Dark Flying type as a type. Fiery Wrath is awesome. I love using Berserk Pokemon. It's just tanky enough to make Berserk go really, really hard as well. Ah, I love it. You can also make it go real hard with the weakness policy and things as well. It's a very, very good mod. And this one is very, very good as well. Okay, Mega Mewtwo X. Now, I've actually talked about this before. This is a weird one. I was never a really big Mewtwo guy. Genuinely. I never thought he was bad. As a design, I thought it was pretty cool. But I was never like, oh, this Pokemon slaps. He's awesome. I love him so much. He's like, he's pretty cool. I'll always go with that. He is a cool mon. And he absolutely deserves, like, a really, really good mark. But this is a me personally list. And And I've never been a big Mewtwo guy, though I do like the idea for Mega Mewtwo X of just punching the shit out of things. That's kind of fun. But yeah, it's a good mon. I'm personally just not a huge fan compared to a lot of others. I will give it A tier because it deserves A tier. It's fucking Mewtwo. It's awesome. And it is fundamentally awesome. But I don't love it as much as a lot of people do. That's the only reason I was talking it up like this, because I bet if people going, oh, he's gonna give it a shit rank. Yeah. But no, Mewtwo X is cool. It genuinely is very, very cool. But it's just not one for me compared to a lot of other people. Like, I get the hype, and I think it's an objectively very, very cool Pokemon, and it's really, really powerful, and it's just good. But it doesn't do it for me. So it's not getting S tier. But it's getting A tier. It is getting a comfy A tier. Because it definitely deserves that. I will not say under any circumstances it's a bad in any way, mon. Everything about it slaps. It's not going to get S tier for me personally. Yeah, that's another bit. I like Y more. Because Y feels like it's expanded on what Mewtwo is more. But I do respect the going the different vibe as well. So, yeah. Heracross is pretty cool. But I've used Heracross. I get why people love this thing. I genuinely do. It's just not really one for me, again. It's a good mon that does a lot of work if you give it right. Like, you can either do... There's a Guts build for it, which is pretty good, because it does obviously get Guts. But the build that I like to do is Choice Scarf with Moxie on it. And I find that to be a much more enjoyable set to do, because Heracross is slow. And that's a big one. Yeah, I would have loved it if Mega Mewtwo Y was just Mega Mew. Yeah, I would have also preferred that. And Mewtwo X was Mewtwo's only one. I would have liked that, genuinely. But I don't think they gave... I think they only wanted to give one Mega to a mythical Pokemon, and it was the Gen 6 mythical. Which is where Megas were introduced, so... It makes sense, right? Yeah, so... Heracross is okay. I don't crazy like him. I also don't particularly dislike him. Mega Heracross goes a bit higher, to be honest. Mega Heracross goes pretty hard. I'll put you at the bottom end of B tier. I think that's deserved. It's got the highest attack, I think, of any Pokemon, which is pretty fun. I've never used this thing, but I kind of want to try it. Mega Heracross. I only know it's got a very high attack. I think it's bad, even with a high attack. But, you know... It's got some vibes. And I love the big Rhino Beetle look. Yeah. Would have been cool. Okay, Hisuian Sneasel, I really like. I'd say you go in the top of A tier. I like this mon. I'm a big fan of Sneasel just in general. I think Sneasel goes pretty hard. It's just a fun, great mon. There was so much work. And it's very cute. Genuinely, it's all I can really go for it. It's just fun. Right? Not really much to say about it. I talked about it not long ago in the Poison tier list that Sneasel is just a really cool Pokemon, just in general, and I gushed about it. And very interesting idea with making a Hisuian one, I've said before, but I get it. And Sneasler, after seeing it actually in-game, it's like, oh, it's much better. So, yeah. Tyrogue, I do barely think of this Pokemon. You're not bad in any way. I think you're fine, but... You are basically just there. I like that they gave the Hitmon some support in that way, but... Yeah. Okay. Now we get to Hitmontop. Now, personally, I know people love this thing. It's kind of goofy. It's got Intimidate, so it's good, and it gets some good moves. However, Two main problems. One, I have never liked this thing, genuinely ever. And two, this is one of the Pokemon that Game Freak should absolutely never have made him go on his feet. He's a spinning top. Leave him spinning on his head. In all the more recent games, he's on his feet and he just like walks about like that. It's awful. I hate it. And I never liked the Pokemon to begin with. So they made a Pokemon that is awful worse. So Hitmontop, you're going in E tier. Once again, by the way, if you haven't seen all my other tier list videos, which you really should, they're all up on my YouTube. There's a link in the links section. That'll take you right to my YouTube channel. No! Don't ruin that song. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a wrecker, baby, right round, round, round. That's my version. I prefer that one. Yeah. But I hate Hitmontop. I've never liked it. I've tried to spin it around. But yeah, I actively dislike Hitmontop. It is one of my least favorite fighting types, quite comfortably. Fighting type is going to have a lot of E tiers, by the way. Just as a heads up for everybody right now. I basically went, I need to put an E tier for fighting types because there's some of my least favorite Pokemon are fighting types. And there's also some Pokemon I dislike, but I don't dislike them enough to put them in E tier. Specifically for fighting types. They would go in E tier and all the types, probably. Actually, no, they're not that bad. But, yeah. I will say, I actually quite like Combusken, just generally. It's one of the kind of derpy middle stage evolutions. But for a middle stage, it's actually one of the best, just generally looking. You know what it is? It is chicken that fights. And it looks like that. Like, it's got the look. They didn't try anything super complicated with it, like I think a lot of them go for. Like, they tried to add crazy extra features, or they tried to add some weird extra bit. Yeah, it has the middle evolution bit, Combusken. But, for Combusken, it actually kind of works. Like, they haven't overcomplicated the middle stage, like they do for a lot, like, Crocalaw is the big one I can think of off the top of my head, with, from Skeledirge, just middle evolution. Skeledirge is amazing. Fuecoco is amazing. Crocalaw is awful looking. But that's because they tried to do too much with it. They've massively changed the vibe from both ways, and it doesn't work. Combusken, they've gone from cute to angry, and then Blaziken is a badass. So that's kind of, like, it works. It's kind of got the, what would I describe it as? The new hot shit martial artist in the dojo. You know, the one that comes in going, like, he's learned a bit of stuff, he's gotten a little bit cocky before he gets the humble pie, and then becomes actually good after the lake, then picks himself up and becomes legit good. He's got that vibe. Yeah, that's exactly it. Prinplup has the same kind of vibe. It's middle stage, but you can feel the transition. That you can feel it. And Combusken's got the just started picking himself up and is getting better. And that's what I like for Combusken. Combusken just goes really hard. Also, chicken's delicious. I know you like Empoleon. But yeah, you already know Blaziken's going in S tier. It's my freaking third favorite starter of all time. I mean, come on. How can I not? Blaziken is an awesome Pokemon. Mega Blaziken is also awesome. I prefer Blaziken's design to Mega. Blaziken is my third favorite. My starters, by the way, in order. I've talked about this before, mostly on the Fire tier list, where they all exist. My favorite is Charizard. My second favorite is Skeledirge. My third favorite is Blaziken. And that is a comfy, comfy spot. I absolutely love him. Blaziken is awesome. And yeah, he just goes so hard. He's such a cool mon. That is fair. That's a good setup. Hoenn had some good stars. I'm obliged to hate Swampert, but that's not through Swampert's problems. Swampert is an amazing Pokemon, I will say that. But I'm obliged to hate Swampert because it's a friend of mine's favourite Pokemon. So I'm obliged to hate it. I have the hatred for Swampert in the kind of affectionate way. That is the, oh, look who this is. This is the one worthy of being my opponent. Like, being my rival kind of thing, you know? That kind of hatred. Oh, the freaking think. Anyone who watched Hellsing Ultimate, the big speech that Alexander Anderson does to Integra Hellsing, in London specifically, the one he's raving and going like, only these people can be our true arch enemies, and we will be the ones to destroy you. That kind of bit. That's what my thoughts on Swampert is. I have a huge amount of respect for that Pokemon. I love Hellsing Ultimate, though. I know the Hellsing Bridge is amazing, though. Yeah, I've seen a fair bit of it. I haven't finished it. Not had time. Yeah, last time I watched Hellsing Bridge was a while ago, and it wasn't even all out yet. Yeah. I actually have one of the songs from Hellsing Abridged on my playlist. The Ready to Die, Party Hard mix, like, mashup is on my playlist. It goes so hard. I literally did that as a meme joke with a bunch of friends, where we were in voice chat on playing Dark Tide, and I just cranked the volume on when I was playing my Zealot character, which is my main, with my chain axe in hand. And I just cranked the volume of Ready to Die, and just charged in chain axe revving into every fight. Like, we speedran the mission, because I was on just Berserker mode. I went full Corn Berserker. Okay, so Breloom. I quite like Breloom. I have gained a lot of respect for this weird little mushroom thing. It's pretty cool. It's got some good abilities, like you get Poison Heal on it, which is very fun. There's a hilarious set you can do with this thing, which has Poison Heal Substitute with Focus Punch, which is very funny. There's the build that I quite like on it, which is Technician with, like, Bullet Punch and things. I recommend giving it a try. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's got it. You can definitely do some work with it. It's a pretty good mon. You need to know how to use it, though. It's one of those, because it's base thing. It's got good attack, but it's very slow. But you can give it, like, Mach Punch with Technician, which is very fun, because you just get Technician. There's loaded dice sets you can do, because it gets Bullet Seed, Technician, loaded dice. Oh, it goes so hard. Obviously, you can Choice Scarf it to make up for its lacking speed. There's a lot of things you can really, really do with Breloom, and that's one of the reasons why I quite like it. It's also one of my friends, like, really, a good friend of mine's really, really up their Pokemon. They love this thing. So I have a lot of respect for Breloom. I've seen how it can work if you use it well. I personally am not going to use it well, but I respect the vibe, and I'm going to give you a good top of B tier. Because you're good. You're very good. And people sleep on it. It's one of those, I have respect for it as well, because it feels in the similar vein of me, of usefulness, as Tyrantrum. Right? Tyrantrum, everyone knows I love Tyrantrum, obviously. Tyrantrum is a phenomenal Pokemon. Absolute beat stick. But people don't realize how strong it is a lot. And that catches people. Genuinely. So, because it reminds me of one of my favorite Pokemon to use. And Tyrantrum, by the way, I have swept people with a Tyrantrum before. Tyrantrum hits like a freight train if you build it right. With, like, its rock head. You give it, like, rock head, its hidden ability is rock head. Give it head smash with a choice band. Jolly nature. It's going to... Jolly nature with max attack. It's going to delete most Pokemon it connects with. That head smash. 80 accuracy, but that is an effective... It's got... Remember, Tyrantrum's got, like, higher attack than Dragapult. So... It does work, and Breloom is in the similar kind of vein. I have also seen a very funny build for Breloom, which, if you want to be just silly, Mach Punch Technician Choice Band. All you need is Fighting Quick Attack, and this thing will wreck shop. It does a lot of damage and a lot of work. So yeah, Breloom's a great Pokemon. I recommend giving it a try sometime. Genuinely. It's not going to obliterate every legendary. It's not... It's going to lose out to a lot of Pokemon, right? There's a lot of Pokemon that are just better than it. But it can do some work. It can actively do work. So, in honor of it being a good Pokemon in its own right, and me getting a fondness for it after understanding how it works, because Breloom was one of my lower, would probably a few years back when I was much younger, it had probably been in D tier. I kind of was like, I'm not a huge fan of it. It massively got... I understood the Pokemon. It's one of those ones. It's like, the more Pokemon knowledge you get, the more you realize Breloom's kind of goes hard. Also get Spore. If you know how to use it, you get Spore. Which, I hate using it for Spore, personally, but you can if you want. I have a shiny one of you. What the fuck's your name? Makuhita! I know Hariyama. I forgot your name. I forgot Makuhita's name. Makuhita goes pretty hard. I'm gonna put these up here for now. We know they're A tier. I really like... I have a shiny Makuhita. Which I found randomly wandering around Paldea, that she was talking to friends and went, that's a shiny Makuhita. I don't think I ever evolved it to Hariyama. I'm not a huge fan of Hariyama's shiny. It's not bad, but... Hariyama's another one that I got a lot more favor with it. The more I used it. But I kind of liked Hariyama's vibe to begin with. Like, it was an okay one originally, and it just got significantly better for me. It is a very underrated mon, yes. It's got great abilities, a massive health pool, good attack, kind of squishy on the other defenses, but its massive health pool means you can really cook with it. And you can give it, obviously, one of its abilities is Guts, which is just great. It can get Thick Fat to be very tanky. You can do a lot. You got Sheer Force, so you can go Sheer Force Life Orb set on it. Hariyama is an amazingly good Pokemon. And, God, people underestimate it. I would never recommend running Sheer Force on it, by the way, because of one reason. One of the big things that make Hariyama very, very good is it gets Fake Out. Fake Out is a great ability. Basically, it's just a little bit of free damage because it's basically got, like... It's got huge priority and guaranteed flinches. But you can only use on the first turn. I recommend running it Guts Flame Orb to get that flinch, which gets you the Flame Orb proc, basically. And obviously, Fake Out's just good. So yeah, Hariyama is another one of those really underestimated but good Pokemon. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can use it for that. It's good, but Hariyama's a really good Pokemon. There's so many ways to use it. That's actually a lot of the things which fighting Pokemon really excel at, which people kind of don't really realize. They can be used a lot of ways. Most fighting types have like a few good options, and all of them are viable. So they've got that. They've got versatility, which makes them pretty good. Right, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I fucking hate Meditite and Medicham. They are some of my least favorite Pokemon ever. Genuinely. I despise these things. They can do some really powerful work. I'll put you at the lowest. You're by far the worst. They look dumb as hell. Sure, they can work, but the problem is, this is a pure... So this spawn has pure power, right? Which is basically huge power. It literally does the exact same thing. But this Pokemon has some very good moves, like a Azumarill does. But it's kind of worse than Azumarill, because Azumarill at least has... It's tough, right? So you can use it for a couple other ways. Oh, it can do some serious work. It can do a shit ton of damage. It shouldn't be able to do any damage. By every right that says, stats and design-wise, it should be awful. Pure power makes it quite good, if you can use it right. Also, if you switch it on anything, even a quad-resisted move, it's gonna die. So, yeah. I really don't like this thing. I never have, and I get annoyed by it. One of my least favorite Pokemon ever. Genuinely. It is... Okay, for E tier, this thing's a low E tier. This thing is low in E tier. Like, Hitmontop, I dislike a shitload. And it definitely deserves to be in E tier, because the Pokemon I'm going to be putting in D tier don't need to be seen with these people. But, yeah, I actively hate these Pokemon, and I really... I do not like them in any way. And if they never get re-released in the game, I'll be quite happy. Okay. Time for me to make some enemies. Monferno and Infernape. You guys know I don't really like these mons. I never have. They're some of my least favorites. But they're only D tier. They are not E tier. They are not even close to E tier. Because you can make them work. And they've got a vibe. I've said before that I would genuinely like to... If I get Fire or Fighting in Gen 4, when I eventually get to the Monotype run there, I will use Infernape. Don't get me wrong. And I will hopefully get proved wrong, basically. I know this Pokemon is quite good. Like, strictly speaking. As a starter Pokemon, it's very good. I just don't like it. I generally don't. Partially, it once again, it has one of the things which I really dislike. So I'm obviously not a big fan of monkeys, so it wasn't going to get a crazy high rank. But this Pokemon suffers from a very, very severe problem of it's the firefighting starter after we got Blaziken, which is the best firefighting starter of the lot. Like, it is. I mean, without its ability, Infernape kind of beats out Blaziken if Blaziken doesn't have its ability. So as a starter Pokemon, Infernape technically better. But Blaziken's significantly cooler, and when you get the hidden ability one, it's way better. Kind of in the same way the Superior, but also, unlike Superior, Blaziken is actually a good starter just outright. It's good as a starter, it's insane with its hidden ability. Whereas Infernape is good as a starter. That's about it. Really, it can't... Like, it's a good mon, don't get me wrong, it's quite powerful, but it's not there. And I don't like it. But it doesn't deserve E tier. It absolutely does not deserve to be E tier. So, yeah. Mega Lopunny. You know where you're going. So, Mega Lopunny is right behind Blaziken for me. Like, they are very, very equivalent. I love this thing. I talked about it in normal type last week. Mega Lopunny is an awesome Pokemon. I'm very happy I've had a chance to use it. Finally. That's why I've put it above Mega Blaziken in my liking, and one of the big reasons why Blaziken was above Mega Blaziken is because there's actually a few spots between the two. I love this thing. It's so obscenely powerful. It's got such a cool gimmick. I just really like it. It's got an amazing design. They made Lopunny great. It's one of the perfect examples of what a Mega should be, is Mega Lopunny. They took a Pokemon which was okay, but nothing crazy, and then made it crazy. Like, they made Mega... I would say Mega Lopunny is a good match, like, in power. I know the stats are slightly different, but it's a good match in power with any pseudo. You knew it was going to be an S tier. I love Megalopunny. I adore it. Maybe serves I'm the one that recommended you use it. Yeah, Megalopunny goes so fucking hard. It's such a great mon. I've mostly used this thing in Poké Rogue. I have messed around a little bit with it on Pokemon Showdown as well. And yeah, it performs so well on Showdown. It's just a really good mon. Genuinely. Doesn't feel broken at all. It just feels good. It's in the perfect spot of what I want a Pokemon to feel. Yeah, that's the Poké Rogue specific one. Normally it just has Scrappy. And to be honest, it doesn't need adaptability and Scrappy. It's just good. Adaptability and Scrappy is what puts it over the edge to be a crazy Poké Rogue mon. But Megalopunny is just good. Just a good mon. Okay. Now we get to an interesting one. So, Riolu, Lucario, and Mega Lucario. I will put you all in A tier. Now, I will say, I know that's another one that is, I feel this Pokemon for me is like Mewtwo. It's a cool mon, and I get why people adore it. I also get why sus people enjoy it. You know what? You know who you are. But Lucario is a pretty cool mon, but I've never had the hype that other people have for this mon. I get it, and for me, it gets a lot of points for being a Cynthia mon as well. Bear that in mind. Also, it's a mon of the Gen 6 gym leader. I've never been like that. I fully admit the sus parts, but not for Lucario. My sus parts is for Mega Lopunny and God of War. You all know this. I know way too many people, is the main thing. But yeah. Lucario's fine. It's pretty cool, mon. Adaptability on Mega Lucario, also pretty cool. It's a good mon. It's just... And it's also very versatile, I will say that again. Mega Lucario is a very, very good mon. It's one of those, in the same kind of vein that Hariyama can be used to use a shitload of roles. Lucario also fills a shitload. It can be a special attacker, it can be a physical attacker, it can be Mega in on the priority, it can be set up, it can be banded, it can be choiced. You can run this pretty much any way, and it will be good. Lucario is just a good mon. I have never had that crazy success using it. But it is good. Also gets Aura Sphere, which is always nice. Used to be its signature move, I believe, as well. If I run Lucario, I tend to run it as a special attacker, because there's not that many special attacking fighting types that are any good. There's a couple, but it's one of the most noteworthy special attacking fighting types that is quite good. But it's never really clicked for me as one of the absolute all-star best mons. It's good, and that's what I'll give it. And it deserves A tier. It definitely deserves A tier. It's like... I'd say it's comfortably an A tier. Riolu is adorable as well. Lucario is pretty cool. Mega Lucario is also very, very cool. But it doesn't right hit the heights of... This is an amazing one that I will always use. It's one that I'm like... If I get one, I will probably get it early. Like, I used one for, I think, a little bit in Scarvi. Because you can get them so early in Scarvi. I also think in our draft league, Lucario is technically the most powerful Pokemon you can get for Gym 1 in our gym league. In our gym leader tournament. Lucario, I believe, is the most powerful Pokemon you can get for the first gym. It's literally all your starting points to get. And it's a good mon that will do well the entire league. But you literally have just got this one Pokemon, that's it. Right? But it will do a lot of good. And it will definitely win you the first gym. Because Lucario is obviously a friendship evolution, which means that it's very easy to evolve early. So yeah. You're getting C tier. Yeah, Croagunk and Toxicroak. Yes, C tier. I'm not a huge fan of them. Would I say I dislike them? Actually, yeah, you're getting D tier. I kind of dislike them. They're not bad per se. I know a lot of people love them, and I get why people love them. They're really, really not for me though. I have used them for reference, but I'm always irritated when I use them. It's a great one. It is. It's one of those ones that it's never clicked for me, right? And I would put them slightly into the vein of I dislike them. They're not in bad spots, really. But also, if you're a crazy big fanboy of these Pokemon, remember Infernape is also in D tier. So, it's my personal taste. That's the main bit. I've never really liked these mons a lot. So, yeah. I don't hate them, but I don't like them either. I would say I actively dislike them. But they are not even close to being in E tier. Do not worry about that. I don't remember where I put them in the poison tier list, but hey, maybe it's just me feeling today. Gallade is fine. I've never really clicked with Gallade, I'm gonna be honest. I prefer Gardevoir. I'd say you're in B tier. It's fun. I really did enjoy using Sharpness Gallade with a Choice Scarf before. And I've seen some, like, good Trick Room sets and stuff with, like, Assault Vest Gallade. And you can make it work. But I personally am not the biggest Gallade fan. But it's a good mon, it's cool. And if you like it, more power to you. But I prefer Gardevoir. Mega Gallade does go a bit harder. I've never used it, but I know it's very good. I'll put you in B tier as well. But above Gallade. I think Gallade is pretty cool. And it's got a fun vibe, but not really for me. So it's not going to get higher than B tier. But I get it. I do get it. Arceus fighting, I'll just put you solidly back in A tier somewhere about here. Once again, it's an Arceus. The only one I'm going to talk about Arceus seriously is the normal type tier list. Otherwise, Arceus is going to be a solid A tier and just be there. It is. It is an inspiration for a Paradox, and the Paradox is way cooler. So, Gardevoir is also an inspiration for this Paradox Pokemon. But I prefer Gardevoir. I do really like Valiant, though, which we'll get to Valiant later. Iron Valiant is so cool. Sorry, got a bit of an itchy nose. Pignite and Emboar, I've talked about you before. Okay, Pignite, you're getting down here. I do not like you. Emboar, you are redeemed by a few of the weirder stuff that you can get. You are a C tier. You're not great. You have a fantastic shiny, though. It's fine. Actually, you know what? I'll put you above Type there. Put you above there. Emboar is a neat Pokemon. I'm not the craziest big fan of it, though. Again, they did firefighting 3 times in a row. And I've said on multiple occasions, the Gen 5 starters are the weakest starters overall. In terms of what they are. Kinda, yeah. Oh, I know it never is. Todoroki's dead. But yeah, I think Emboar is fine, but I don't really like it. The shiny does give it a lot of points. I used to actively dislike this Pokemon, but I saw the shiny and it's like, oh, you're actually kind of cool. I have used Emboar and had some enjoyment using it. Not a lot, but some. Also, hilariously, it gets Scold, which I find very funny. So, yeah, Emboar is okay. And it's probably my favorite of the Gen 5 starters as a starter Pokemon. Superior is my favorite as a Pokemon of those ones. But it needs Contrary. It's awful. Tepic is the worst fire starter. Yeah. Yeah. I dislike Chimchar more for personal bias. I dislike monkeys. But Tepig just looks like food to me. I don't like either one. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Hey, Nixie. Gen 4 is the only gen that I don't pick a fire starter in. And Gen 5 is I'm going to replace the starter at my earliest convenience. Just outright. I don't like either one, particularly. But I prefer Ember overall. Out of the pair. But it's still bottom of the barrel for fire-type starters, don't get me wrong. I talked about that a lot in the fire starter list, where both of them were pretty low ranked. As a person who always picks up the fire starter in pretty much every single gen, they're the two that has made me consider something else. Right? And that's Biggs. Admittedly, in the case of Infernape, it's up against one of the coolest non-fire starters of all gens, with Torterra. And I know you love Empoleon, which I also think is significantly higher rank than Infernape. Infernape's the only one that I'd say the fire starter is the least good. It's the least interesting and the least fun. But it's a good one. Whereas in Gen 5, they're all shit. But at least Ember as a starter Pokemon is fine. Because Superior, by the way, if you use Superior as a starter, you're going to have a bad time. Superior is a terrible starter Pokemon, but has an amazing hidden ability that makes the Pokemon good. Superior without Contrary is garbage. Superior with Contrary, though, it's pretty good. And very fun to use. Yeah. Now for Timber, Girder, and Conkeldurr. Now, I am not the biggest fan of these ones overall. And hilariously, the main thing I know Conkeldurr is because in a friend group Discord call I'm in, we were doing, like, dumb Pokemon questions, like hypotheticals. So it was things like, which Pokemon would be the biggest rival or would hate Hatsune Miku the most? Or is the biggest fan of Hatsune Miku? That kind of dumb question, right? And I'm pretty sure I can't say what the question was on. It was a very not safe for work, not safe for Twitch kind of conversation things. It wasn't too bad. But I think it was something like, which Pokemon is, like, most likely to disown their child? Or something like that. I can't remember the exact one. And one of the friend group, I can't remember the exact question, but it was something to that effect. But it was something, and it was a really dumb conversation. Wish to preface this all. And one of the people immediately posted, because we were like 3, 2, 1, post the images in the chat. One of the people, the person who won the round comfortably, just posted a picture of Conkeldurr. And we cannot help but think that Conkeldurr, as a thing, is like the very stereotype. I will preface this right. This is taken into context. It was the racist old man Pokemon, I believe is what we called it. Because we just immediately got the vibe where they were going to. We've heard a little bit of the argument. Wait, you've already won, dude, with this one. It was like Cards Against Humanity with Pokemon, essentially. Using Pokemon as the examples. There were some really dumb questions. And like, one of them was, what Pokemon is the most likely to be a bad Disney adult? And the same person who posted the Conkeldurr for this picture posted Illumise for that one. And we went, you've won that, dude. You've won that round. So yeah. Timber, Girder, Conkeldurr. I think I like Timber the best, honestly. But yeah, it's... I can't not think of that conversation when I think of this Pokemon. In all genuine nature. Which is unfortunate. But it's one of those bits of, this is why you know the Pokemon is weird, bit little mini context, things like that. And, yeah. I'm very sad. Sorry, Conkeldurr. You didn't deserve this. You didn't deserve this disrespect. You're fine. You're a fine Pokemon. But I can't look at you without thinking of this conversation. So, sorry. Soak and Throw. I think Soak and Throw are pretty neat, but I'm not really completely sold on it. I prefer Throw to Soak. But I think both of them are at least deserving of a low B tier, right? I don't think either one is bad, but I'm not sold on either one, like, crazily enough. But I think they're both pretty cool. Just generally, I think they're alright. Now, I am curious, everybody. Viewers. I got a cut on my arm. No, I got a bug bite. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But anyway. So, viewers. The next Pokemon is Hisuian Lilligant. Can anybody here guess where Hisuian Lilligant's going to be? I want you guys to guess for this one. I will give no opinions, just as a knowing me and having watched other ones of these videos, because we haven't had Hisuian Lilligant up on the list yet. Where do you think it's going to be? Do you think I'm going to love it? Do you think I'm going to hate it? Where are you thinking? Any guesses are welcome. B tier? Okay. Also B tier. Alright. Interesting. Well, you would probably be surprised to find that Hisuian Lilligant is one of my actual favorite Pokemon. I genuinely love this thing. This is the Chlorophyllmon. This is the definitive, this is the Pokemon you use as your grass type on a Sun team. I love this thing. It has Victory Dance. Its signature move is Victory Dance. Victory Dance is a attack up, defense up, and a speed up. It's Dragon Dance mixed with Bulk Up at the same time. It's physical Quiver Dance. This thing is also a very, very powerful physical attacker, which has Chlorophyll, it has Victory Dance, and gets Solar Blade. Now, people who've watched me play Pokemon have seen me run Leafeon with Solar Blade, with Choice Band. This thing is more powerful than Solar Blade Leafeon. It's just better, and I love that, man. This is the crazy, crazy powerful. It takes a little bit of setup, but I use this thing in doubles. It's insane. This one is so fun. I love its design. I like Lilligant as well. I'll be fair here. But I adore this thing so much. This is one of my absolute favorite Pokemon. One of my favorite grass types. One of my favorite fighting types as well. This thing is crazy good. Crazy fun. I love its design. I love the kind of Alorune ballerina kind of look. It goes so hard. So, I love this thing. I love Hisuian Lilligant. So yeah, Lily. That is literally my Lily Pokemon. That is the one that actually has the name Lily locked in. It feels in the same way of Tyranitar. I'm not likely to use it otherwise. I have actually used it otherwise because its other ability is Hustle. I have run a setup version of it with the wide lens, so it's less likely to miss with Hustle. And this thing does a lot of damage with the Hustle build. So you can imagine what the best build to use it on, which is the Sun team. This thing goes crazy hard. The one weakness, if it sees a flying type Pokemon, it explodes. But also if it sees a fire type Pokemon, because it's a Chlorophyllmon, meaning the sun is up, and it's not surviving a single fire hit in the sun. But it's a crazy good Pokemon. I love this thing. So yeah, love Hisuian Lilligant. Absolutely adore it. Scraggy and Scrafty. Now, Scraggy and Scrafty, people know I don't like these mons. I talked about it in the Dark-type tier list ages ago. I just don't like them. They are E-tiers. In fact, you know what? You're not as bad as Hitmontop. I just really do not like these mons. Weirdly, do you know the thing that actually makes them more tolerable than Hitmontop for me? It's a really weird thing. What makes these Pokemon more tolerable than Hitmontop is they have a quad weakness, so I'm less irritated fighting them. Because they are quad weak to Fairy. That is what takes them above Hitmontop. I don't like them. I've never liked them. Blah. I did say there's a big reason why E tier had to exist for fighting types. Fighting types have some of the largest number of I really don't like these Pokemon. But it also has a lot of really good Pokemon. So, there is that. Mienfoo and Mienshao. I quite like both of these. I think they're both pretty fun, pretty neat. I kind of like the Kung Fu Mongoose kind of vibe. So I put Mienfoo is there. Mienshao, I think, is up here. I really like Mienshao's vibe. It's pretty fun. Also, Weirdmon. It's got Regenerator as its standard ability. It's really fast and it's pretty damn hard. It's cool. It reminds me of those kind of Taoist monk types from anime and things like that. They're the old martial arts master types that have the huge long sleeves. Like, they are exactly the monk that sits on top of a mountain. Right? For thousands of years. And just, like, is cultivating and that kind of shit. But, so I quite like them on. It's pretty fun. And it's pretty cool. So, yeah. Comfy good beast here. Okay. Now, Alakazam isn't the one that's cultivating. Alakazam is the psychic that, like, it's in the dark corner. I imagine Alakazam more has court wizard vibes to me. Like, he's the one that you don't talk to very much, but when he speaks, it really matters. He only talks up with, like, threat to the kingdom in a fantasy setting. Whereas Mienfoo and Mienshao are the, they're the actual, like, martial arts monks. They're the D&D monk Pokemon, basically. Okay, we got the Swords of Justice up next. Cobalion, Virizion, Terrakion, and... what the fuck is your name? Keldeo. So I will go with this. I will quickly rank these because I'm not the crazy biggest fan of any of them. I don't think any of them are, like, absolutely amazing. But there are levels of cool. Regular Cobalion, I quite like. It's got a pretty cool vibe. I would say not top spot of B tier, but here. I'd say regular Cobalion is cool. Mainly because very high defense, stab, body press. Steel fighting type, right? Pretty fun. I like it. There's a way to run it. You could also run it like super... you run this super defensively and it does a lot of work. And is very fun. You kind of use it as a concrete wall that they can smash themselves up against. And you hit very hard because stab body press. It's fun. I think the set that I like to see with it was Iron Defense, Body Press, Volt Switch, and I think it was Protect. It was something else with leftovers on it. It was pretty fun to use. Or it's like Iron Head. Some steel move, basically. But it doesn't really matter, because the main thing is you've got an Iron Defense Body Press with it. There's better mons to do it with, and there's mods I prefer to do it with. But Cobalion is a pretty fun one, and it's not bad. Virizion, I've talked repeatedly about Virizion arguably being, if I don't think it's even arguable, I think Virizion is actively the worst fully evolved legendary Pokemon of all time. In terms of, is it actually good to use in a battle? It's really not. It's basically, Hisuian Lilligant basically beats it in every stat that matters. Virizion is not good. There's nothing good about it. It's awful. Actually, no, correction. There is one good thing about it. It's got a pretty cool design. So I will give you, because your design does actually make up for the rest, I'll put you here. Virizion. Or Verizon if you want to have an internet provider in the States. I guess. Yeah, Virizion's fine, but I have no strong feelings. Terrakion, however, Terrakion's kind of cool. It's obviously based on Portus, because obviously these are the Three Musketeers, and my favorite one is the one that Terrakion is based on. So I will give Terrakion a top spot in B tier, just beating out Breloom. I do quite. It's fine. I don't really dislike it. People actually say its typing's bad as well. Its typing's not awful. Rock Fighting is a super offense-focused typing. It's not great, I will say, but that's not what the purpose of Rock Fighting is. purpose of rock fighting is you use it on the offense. So I would really heavily focus on the offense with this mod. And I know it's been good in the past as well. Like, I think it's in the past, not in Gen 9 specifically. I think Kabalion's technically the best of these in Gen 9. Thrakian's been good. Like, it can do some work. Because it's super offensive. People go, oh, it's a rock type, it must be defensive. No, rock types for defense in almost every case is awful. Use rock types for offense, and fighting is one of the best offense types in the entirety of Pokemon. So you can hit things really hard. Its move pool is only okay, though. Keldeo and Resolute Keldeo. I've never really liked Keldeo. You're getting low C tier. You're fine. I don't really like the My Little Pony horse, okay? I've never really liked it. It's there. What can I fucking say? It's a dull little weird horse thing. I don't really like it. It didn't like capture my imagination anyway. It like, oh, this is a cool Pokemon I want to use. It's extremely meh. That's all I can really call about it. I'm sorry people who love Keldeo, because I know people love it. I just don't care about this Pokemon. Pirouette for Meloetta, though, you're getting S tier. I love this thing. I did say there was another Pokemon that was going to be between Blaziken and Mega Blaziken, and yeah, this is one of them. I do love this thing a lot. It's really fun to use. It's kind of hard to get to use because you need to burn a move to do it. I do really wish there was a way to just, like, pick which form you started in, because you start in the other form. This form for Meloetta is more fun to use in battle. Out of the two. Because it's got very high speed, very high attack. It just hits hard. You know. It kind of works like Mega Lopunny in a lot of ways. It's basically like a Mega Lopunny that instead of the Mega Evolution setup to get it working, you use Relic Song instead. So it's cool. I do really like it. It's a good mod. And it's an absolute delight to use. I love trying to use Meloetta. I'm really bad at using Meloetta, but I do like giving it a shot. Okay. Chestnut. The Paladin. The Paladin of Gen 6. Chestnut's neat. I don't have the hatred that so many people have for this mon. So many people really don't like Chestnut. I have never really thought that. I thought Chestnut is fine. Genuinely. The part for me about Chestnut is it's easily the worst in terms of design and usability of the Gen 6 starters. But I think all three of the Gen 6 starters are okay at worst. Like, and I say the okay one is Chestnut. Delphox is my fourth favorite starter of all time. And Greninja's Greninja. Like, Greninja's great. Even if I'm not the biggest fan of it personally. Like, I'm not the water starter person. And I like Delphox more. But Greninja's cool. Like, objectively, it's a fucking ninja frog. It's a dark ninja frog, right? How can you not like it? But Chestnut, I've said this about Chestnut before. Chestnut, I see what they were going for. I see the gears and the pieces they were aiming for there at going for the Pokemon. I think, unfortunately, they just kind of missed the mark. I think Chestnut could have had a way better design. I don't think it's bad, but I think it's a missed opportunity, essentially. But I am going to give Chestnut a pretty okay spot. You're a solid B tier. Genuinely. I think just put them a champ line. You are fine. I kind of like it. I've used this Pokemon a little bit. I've wanted to use it. It's a fun mon. You can definitely make it work. Definitely give Chestnut a shot. In all honesty. Like, it's considered one of the most hated starters of all time. And I will say Quilladin is a terrible Pokemon and looks awful. Chestnut doesn't deserve the hate it gets. Genuinely. It's fine. It's kind of cool. Nothing crazy, but it's fine, right? And I would put it as, like, it deserves better than what it gets. because it deserves to be a pretty fun Pokemon. But it's one of the most forgettable starters, unfortunately. Which is more of a shame than anything else. But again, if they make a regional form, they're going to give it a Mega. We're like 99% sure in Legends ZA. So maybe the Mega will go hard. I hope it does, genuinely, because Chestnut deserves some time to shine. Panchan and Pangoro. People know I love these things. You two are immediate S tiers. I love Panchan Pangoro. I love the little Yakuza panda. I love how it evolves as well. One, I think Pangoro just has an amazing, pretty fun to use stat line, obviously. It's very physical bulk. It's slow, physically bulky, and hits very hard. Has no special bulk and okay health. Actually, I think it's got good health. But it's very weak on the special side, and it's slow. And it's got quad weakness to Fairy, which was the new type involved in Gen 6. So, Pangoro isn't amazing, but it's a very fun mon, and I would very much like to use it more again. I have always enjoyed using this thing. In fact, I want to run it in a more recent gen, where Assault Vest is in. I want to run Assault Vest Pangoro so bad, I think that would be so fun to use. And Pancham. So, Pancham is full fighting type, and Pangoro is fighting dark. And the way that you evolve Pancham into Pangoro is you need to have another dark type in your party to evolve it, right? When it's like above a certain level, it needs another dark type in the party to evolve. And the reason for that is it's getting a bad influence, so it becomes a Yakuza. It becomes a mob boss, basically. And I love that. That's such a cool idea for an evolution. And I want them to do it more. Genuinely, I would love it if they did more for that. I could totally see them giving Pangoro a Mega in Legends ZA. I think that would go so hard. And I would genuinely love to see this Pokemon again. I really, really like Pangoro. It's such a fun man. Gen 6 has some great fighting types. As, for reference, Chestnut, there's like 3 fighting type lines in Gen 6. Gen 6 didn't add a crazy number of a lot of lines. Because it was adding like a lot of Megas and a lot of new forms for things and stuff like that. So it didn't add too many. But what it did add, I say that Gen 6 had one of the highest average cool Pokemon type, like, setups of all. Genuinely. Like, for the amount of Pokemon released, for how good they all are, they're all great. As you will see, because, Hwalucha! I love Hwalucha so fucking much. I love the little Mexicro, which is what I named my one. I have a shiny Hwalucha named Mexicro in Pokemon Scarby. I love this thing. Please bring Hwalucha to Pokemon Unite. I want this mod so badly in Pokemon Unite. I love Hwalucha so much, and it deserves even more love. Yeah, exactly. It would be such a good mon for Unite, right? I'm also surprised. It seems like one of those just, well, this is obvious, right? It's the Luchador bird. Yeah, I know a lot of people are, a friend of mine's really excited for Psyduck, actually. He's hilarious because he's only played a couple times. The mon that made him install the game was, Magikarp, obviously for Gyarados coming out, and we all played it a bunch when he came out, and he's planning on getting all the dumb, goofy Pokemon, so he's getting Psyduck on there as well. So I will probably be playing more. I'm gonna be waiting on playing it a lot. Oh, that I can see that. Shiny Psyduck. You know, I don't want to say that this does not intend it as an insult in any way. But I absolutely get it. I see where they get it from. It's meant with affection. It's fine. But yeah. Yeah. I'm also very happy Psyduck is coming in. I'm also excited for Psyduck. And yeah, Hwalucha needs to be in Unite. It really does. It's a super, super good one, and I just want it. It's a fun mon, right? There's so many mons in fighting type that I wanted Pokemon Unite, to be entirely fair. But Hwalucha's one of the big ones. Obviously, I want Hisuian Lilligant as well. I want Mega Lopunny. I want Lopunny as well. I think Lopunny would be a cool one. I just want more Pokemon in Unite, if I'm being perfectly honest. Your Pokemon Unite's awesome. I hate to play it more, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting basically for a bunch of new mons that I am interested in to come out. Because none of the ones that have come out super recently are ones that I'm like, that one I need. Like, I like a lot of them. I can like Ceruledge, I like Ho-Ho, I like Armarouge, which is coming out soon, I believe. Or it might be out already, I'm not sure. Psyduck's cool. Darkrai's cool. I know. It's a shame I'm always freaking busy on Thursdays, otherwise I'd tune in more. Hey, if I ever get a Thursday free, I might stream it with you if you're up for that. I don't know what your time is for your Thursday stream. Yay! Absolutely at some point. I love that game. I love to play it on the PC screen, which is always fun because I've got love my adapter for it. Yeah, I do like it. Hilariously, I almost always end up playing all-rounders. Most of my favorite Pokemon are all-rounders. Elgato. No, no, actually. I actually can't remember what it's called. I just have an adapter that plugs it into my PC. That plugs my Switch port into the PC, and I play it on, what's it called? I've forgotten the name. I've got a program which lets me just actually see it on my PC screen with almost no delay. So it's genuinely just playing it on my PC properly. And it's very good. It works. It can be a little temperamental at times, but it does work very, very well. One moment, actually, because I don't want to just show my desktop. So give me a moment. And it's called Pot Player. I play it on a. I use a software called Pot Player to be able to stream it. With game capture. So it goes very well, genuinely. And it gets almost no delay. I was amazed at how little delay there is, actually, between Pot Player and the game. Genuinely. So. It means that I can just... I don't have much excuse for saying I'm bad, because I'm just bad. Yeah, I'd be down to play it sometime. Not this week, I'm too busy. I'm very busy. I've got the potential to be extremely busy on Thursday, actually. I don't know yet. But yeah. Okay, Hisuian Decidueye is pretty cool. I dislike it compared to regular Decidueye. Regular Decidueye is way cooler. But I do like Hisuian Decidueye, so I'm going to put you by here. I haven't got really crazy high opinions of it. It's cool. Actually, I'll put it above Chestnut. Sorry, Chestnut. I was literally just hyping you up. Hisuian Decidueye is a bit cooler than you, but not by a ton. So, they're comparable for me, but I think it's a little bit higher up on there. Crab Brawler and Crabominable. What can I say about you? I think that people hate you more than you deserve, but I don't really think that gives you, like, great ranks of being amazing, right? You're just kind of fine. You are sleeper Pokemon. I'll put it that way. They are better than people give them credit for, but they're still not amazing. They are pretty powerful. I've actually seen Crabominable on a lot of Trick Room teams. Because it's got absurd attack. I think it's got the same attack as Salamence. 135, I believe. Give me a second. 132. It's got comparable attack to, like, the big pseudo-legendaries, like Garchomp and Salamence and all that stuff. So it's good. And it hits very hard. It's got a lot of good moves. It's slow as dirt and has a weird design, though. I don't mind the Yeti design overall. Essentially, like, I don't think it's bad. I'm not super sold on it, and I do prefer it had a different design. I will definitely say that. But I think the Yeti design is just a little bit off on it, rather than, like, a bad decision all around. Essentially. Also, for some reason, Crabominable always reminds me of the old Looney Tunes Yeti. And I will name him George, and I will love him and squeeze him. It always reminded me of that Yeti, which I assume was the design philosophy for it. But Yeah, Chronotable's fine. You're getting C tier. It's an okay mon. There's at least one person who is going to be exploding in watching this at some point, saying, "How dare they put Crabominable over Infernape?" It's like, I don't like Infernape. Suck it up. Yeah. Stuffle and Beware. I kind of like these Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie. They're fine. They're little teddy bears, and I have a soft spot for teddy bears. I'm not like their design is the greatest thing ever, but they're silly, and they are like, they're silly comedy. They're goofy done correctly. I'll say that again. Also in the anime, I've seen a little bit of eclipse from this Pokemon. This Pokemon goes so hard in the anime. I think literally Beware beats the shit out of a Pheromosa, which is a crazy good Pokemon, which we'll get to later, because I love Pheromosa. Yeah, so, very fun. And it's pretty good Pokemon. Like, it's nothing crazy, but it's pretty good. Always forget the name of this Pokemon. The basketball lemur. Passimian. Yeah, Passimian. I don't really like Passimian. I'm gonna be honest. Again, monkey. Actually, I'll put you here. I don't think Dr. Croak's that bad. Yeah, Passimian, I've never been a huge fan. It's fucking huge, by the way, for no reason. This Pokemon is gigantic. I believe this is a basketball player. I believe Passimian is based off a particular basketballer, like Shaquille O'Neal or something. I believe it's the same height as him, so it just ends up being a very, very big Pokemon. But Passimian's... There's nothing I can say about it, really. I have never used it, particularly. I have never felt the incredible urge to use it. I have never seen anybody use it outside of, like, story mode games and the occasional Then We Fight video where they've got randomly assigned it. It's just kind of there as a Pokemon that exists. But I'm not a huge fan of its design as well, so it kind of loses points. Silverly, I've talked about Silverly enough already. Yeah, it's fine. Get here. I don't care. You're fine. You're a cool Pokemon. Hakamo'o and Komo'o, you know these guys are getting S tier, but they're not getting as high S tier as people would think. I do love them a lot. Obviously, the Fighting Dragons, big props to them. And I do like them. I actually had a very fun time using these things. I had a very tanky Drain Punch one that I used in the first DLC of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The one with the Ogerpon in it. It's a very fun mon. I genuinely love this thing. It's really cool. It's fun to use. You have to make it work in particular ways. That you have to find the vibes. And the fact that there is a few good ways to run it, I like it. Like, you can run this super crazy sound-based build on it, where you go, like, the clanging scales and boom bursts and stuff like that, which is very fun. Or you can run it as a physical brawler with, like, Dragon Claw, with, like, again, the clanging scales ability, which is basically, like, you take a chunk out of your health and gain it all stats up. With, like, Leftovers and Drain Punch and Dragon Claw, like I ran it. You can run it, super fast Scarfed and things. You can run it Iron Defense Body Press, because it's, again, a stab body press mon with good defense. So, there's a lot of ways you can run this mon, and I like it for that. And I quite like its design. It's a pseudo, so I'm obviously biased. I love my pseudo legendaries. What can I say? But for the fighting type ones, it's not in the absolute top echelons, as it's one of the more okay ones. But Komodo is a fantastic one, and I do very much like it. Deserves more respect. Yeah. Buzzwole! I love the Johnny Bravo bug. You're getting a good mark, buddy. I've used this thing a little bit, and it's very fun. Buzzwole is a hilarious Pokemon. It always reminds me of Johnny Bravo. That's all I can think of when I see this Pokemon. It's Johnny Bravo, the Pokemon. I very much like it. It's a very fun mon. What can I say? It's just cool. Right? It's a giant, super muscular, over-the-top as hell design, but in a good way. It's the Chad bug. I love it. You deserve an S tier. You're comfortable S tier. Now we're talking about the other one. I will actually say I prefer Pheromosa. I think I said this in the bug type tier list. I prefer Pheromosa to Buzzwole. I love Matara. That's for reference. There is the VTuber Matara Khan, who apparently when getting their VTuber design had no idea what Pheromosa was. They look like Pheromosa, and they go, "Oh, I definitely see it." Completely unintentional, apparently. Maybe the designer had some like inspiration from it, but I love this Pokemon anyway. It's a very fun mon to use. Super, super, super fast. And hits like a truck. Crazy good. I was very sad that that it was on the list of Pokemon we couldn't use in the Gym Leader tournament. Because I actually wanted to try using it, because it's a Nat Dex tournament. And I'd never used Pheromosa, so I was looking, okay, how many points is Pheromosa, how many points? It was on the banned list. It was only too strong to use this, which is like, I get it. Pheromosa's crazy good. Glass Cannon. The exemplar Glass Cannon Pokemon. No defense whatsoever. Super, super fast and hits like a truck. Love it. Very good mon. Very fun. Yeah, it absolutely deserving a good, comfy S tier. Marshadow. I've used Marshadow a little bit as well. You are also S tier, but probably the lowest S tier of these ones. Marshadow is awesome. I love it. It's a light attacking technician mon. It's very cool. It's one of the coolest mythics, and I like a lot of the mythics. But it's a very cool one, because it's got a very different vibe. It's still small and cute, but it's actually, like, violent in its useness. It's technician, fighting ghost types. You get good moves with technician boosts. It's so fun. It's got very high attack. It's a cool mon, and I like his like little Shadow Mischief vibe. It's a fun mon. I like it. I also like that it looks evil as shit, and I'm pretty sure it's actually quite nice and shy. So, Grapplox. Grapplox alright. I will put you... You know what? Because you're quite fun. Another mon I would love to see in Pokemon Unite is Grapplox. I believe it's technically in the game, but I think it's just an NPC, which means we're probably never getting it as a playable character. But I quite like Grapplox. I like that they went... You know what? We're not making this thing a water type. We are making this thing a pure fighting type octopus. We're not adding any other types to it. This thing is a pure fighting type. Why? Fuck knows. But respect the vibe. And it's pretty cool. It's kind of like, I think they were trying to make another version of Wobbuffet. Also, Grapplox Shiny is so good. It's one of the best shinies. So, yeah. Sir-fetched, indeed. It is a Sir Knight. I will put Sir-fetched here. I like this mon. I kind of want to use it. I believe it's a Pokemon Sword exclusive mon. And I did say I'm eventually going to play Pokemon Sword. So, I might use one of these on my team. As it's not in my absolute highest tier pinnacles, but it's a good mod, and it's cool, and I like that they gave Farfetch'd something, essentially. And it's a vibe. I also love the guy that did the voice acting of this Pokemon. Must have had such a happy time in the anime, because I've seen him in the anime. It's like, Sir-fetched. It's a great voice acting. Shout out to that voice actor. Don't know who the fuck you are, but you did a great job. Ah, yes, one of the coolest mods. This is another one that my buddy, who plays all the Goofy mons, was wanting in Pokemon Unite, and they're very happy they got it. They have it. I believe they've got it now. Phalanx! I love this thing, and I can't help but think the Dr. Liversley walk when they see this moment. Dun 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 dun. Such an awesome idea for a mon. I love the little Spartan Phalanx. The Spartan Phalanx, obviously. Vibe. Easy ST. It's such a fun one to use. I have also, famously, in Pokemon Showdown, had the I swept someone with a Phalanx. I did comfortably sweep somebody with a Phalanx, and they just got destroyed by it. Phalanx, love you, boy. You're great. I love this mon so much. Easy S tier. Zamazenta and Crown Zamazenta. I will say Crown regular Zamazenta, I'll put you here. Crown Zamazenta, though, you're an S tier. Yeah. I do like, I've said before, I prefer Zacian to Zamazenta. I do. Actually, you know what? No, Crown, non-crowned, you get S tier as well. I decided. You have earned it. Zamazenta is cool. I like Zacian more. I have said that before. But this mon is the exemplification of a body press mon. Stupid tanky. Like, it's literally the shield mon. Behemoth Bash is also a lot of fun to use. It's a really, really good mon. All I can really say about it, it's an awesome mon. It speaks for itself. It's a box art legendary, and both of the box art legendaries are very, very good. Gen 8 had some absolute beast mode Pokemon, and this is one of them. Even though I prefer the legendary from Pokemon Sword, the Pokemon Shield legendary is still very, very good. And very, very cool, and a great design. Ah, yes, now we get to the broken as shit mon, Urshifu. Kubfu, you are getting here. You are cool, you're adorable looking, and I like the little martial arts vibe. Single Strike Urshifu, you're going in S tier. Same with your G-Max. Rapid Strike Urshifu, you are going in A tier. Now, I will say, this is not a power list for these mons. This is not, this is comparison, this is not power-wise. Urshifu is a busted mon, right? We all just have to accept that. Though I personally have seen it not being quite as busted as people seem to think it is, it's still crazy, crazy, crazy strong. What actually gets Rapid Strikes lower on this list than Single Strike is Single Strike feels like Urshifu broken, designed correctly. Yeah, it's the unfair bet, exactly. Single Strike Urshifu it's always felt to me, this is Urshifu as it was intended to be. Right? It's a crazy broken mon, obscenely so, ignores Protect, crazy good moves, dark fighting type, right? Because for me, if you're going to make a Pokemon as powerful as this, you got to give it a very set, clear weakness, right? You just got to. The very set, clear weakness for Urshifu, Single Strike, is that it's a dark fighting type. Dark fighting type dies to Fairy super hard. It gets obliterated by Fairy. It will just drop to a single, like, Florida Main's going to annihilate this thing, right? Urshifu Rapid Strikes is water fighting. And that is a big difference because water fighting has no quad weaknesses. To me, if you are going to make a stupid broken mon as powerful as Urshifu, you need to give it a quad weakness. Nearly all the pseudos have a quad weakness, for reference. That's kind of a bit that you have to realize. The pseudo legendaries aren't broken because they have clear weaknesses. Or they're just not great. But even ones that don't have quad weaknesses are also pretty good. But they're powerful Pokemon that have like obvious options. And I count Urshifu in the pseudos like tier. Right? It's way more powerful than his pseudo legendary. But, yeah. Even though I have actually, I've taken an Urshifu comfortably in combat with Gooba. Gooba has beaten Urshifus before. Particularly in the Pokemon Draft League we did originally. I learned I basically heard that everyone was talking up Urshifu and really, really ramping it. And I beat the Urshifu player after only dropping one round, which was the second round. Which pretty much every single player did. So I understand the concept of Urshifu, but plan for it. You have to plan for the Pokemon. It's very, very broken. But Single Strike is less broken because it's got a quad weakness. So this crazy busted mon has a quad weakness, meaning that there's a counter. And it's not super, super fast. It's fast. Like, it's on the average speed. I believe it's 100 speed, which is fine. 100 speed with a quad weakness, it's a good mon. But it's a good mon. Can tend toward the broken tier, but isn't completely busted out of his mind. Rapid Strike Urshifu has actually got a very good chance of surviving any hit, even a super effective one that you can hit it with. Because it's bulky as well. Like, Urshifu's not a squishy Pokemon. It's got good attack, crazy good moveset. All that stuff, right? All the normal things you'd expect. But Rapid Strike has the better move, because it's basically a multi-hit guaranteed crit move. Because Urshifu's thing is it basically has the auto crit moves, everybody knows. And it ignores Protect. Meaning there's no real answer. There's no particularly good answer to Rapid Strike Urshifu. So I don't think Rapid Strike Urshifu should exist. I think it should have just been Single Strike. And I think that it wouldn't have been anywhere near as busted if there was only one, because you don't know. A lot of the time, you don't know which Urshifu it is until you see it. A lot of the time. Because it could be either. Obviously, if you're in an actual tournament and things, you know which one it is. In the Draft League, we knew which one it was. It was the water type for reference. But I've never thought that the Dark Urshifu is particularly broken, because clear answer. Rapid Strike, I think, is a bit too far because it's not got as clear an answer. And water type is a crazy, crazy strong type to begin with, right? So, yeah. Sneasler, I love Sneasler so much. Great mon. Easy S tier. Where do I put you? Here, I'd say. Sneasler is awesome. I originally didn't really like Sneasler. I thought its design was bad. But that's just in, like, images like this. In-game, Sneasler looks amazing. Sneasler, the images of it online don't really do it justice. You have to see it in-game and see how it moves, see how it stands, and see how it just acts to get, oh, this is a cool Pokemon. You can see the detailing a lot more. Because I thought, oh, it just looks weird. It's like they've stretched out a Sneasel. No, they've actually done quite a lot for it. It's kind of got, like, Panther vibes. Which I think is very cool. So, yeah. Do love that. Quaquaval. Quaquaval, Quaquaval, Quaquaval. If you like Quaquaval, the fuck is wrong with you? No, that's a bit harsh. No, I actively don't like Quaquaval. I have said before, I think Quaquaval is the worst starter ever. Genuinely. I think it is the worst designed of all starter Pokemon. For reference, it's still not an E tier mon. It is only D tier. I think that Quaquaval, particularly the big bit I've got to compare Quaquaval. It's a pretty fire Pokemon. All the Gen 9 starters are very good in terms of usability. And Quaquaval is no exception. Quaquaval is probably the worst of the three, I'm pretty sure. But he's not bad. The problem is, his design is awful. And the big problem that you've got with it is Quaquaval is easily the worst, because Skeledirge and Meowscarada are two of the best starters ever made. Genuinely. Skeledirge is my number 2 spot starter of all time. And Meowscarada is competing first place for my favorite grass starter. Which is very high up there in terms of, like, overall Pokemon for me. Because it's Meowscarada and Torterra, my 2 favorite grass starters. Which is... They are comfortably... They beat out a few fire starters. I'll put it that way, in terms of, do I like these mons? I'd say they are about 6 and 7, probably, in my starters list. Yeah, I'd probably say they're about 6 and 7 in my starters list. They would actually, I would take them over some fire starters I actually kind of like. Not always, for reference, but you know what I mean. And they're not cracking the top 5. The top 5 are very, very comfortable where they are at the moment. For my favorite fire starters. For my favorite starter Pokemon. Water types have some things on the list as well. But they're, like, a little bit below them. So, yeah. I actively don't like Quaquaval. I think it's terrible. I think Quaquaval also has the worst middle stage evolution of any Pokemon. I think that Quaxwell is a terribly designed Pokemon. It looks like... So, in-game, the big Pompadour hair, which is supposed to be Pompadour, it looks like a pus-filled bubble. Because it's like a bubble, it undulates in a really weird and uncomfortable way. And I think Quaquaval doesn't really help matters at all. I actively don't like the Pokemon. Yeah, it's getting in D tier. It's lower than Infernape as well. So Infernape, hey, you beat a starter Pokemon, Final Evolution. It's an awful mod that I hate, but yeah. Poor Mo and poor Mott, you're okay. I don't really have strong feelings about these bonds. They're kind of cool. Their signature move is pretty fun, actually. Revival Blessing is cool, which it had them and Rabska, I believe, have it. And this is better. This is a better Pokemon than Rabska. I prefer Rabska's design, but this is a much better mon than Rabska. Yeah. I don't really like these mons. They're not in D tier. They're fine. I don't really have strong feelings about them. They're another Pikachu clone, what can I say? They're one of the better Pikachu clones, admittedly, and they are quite cute, which is getting them a good few points, but yeah. In fact, you know what? Be there. Cuteness. Cuteness factor. Flamigo, or the fucking Flamingo mon. It's just a Flamingo. I don't care what anyone says. It's D tier. It's fine stat-wise. It's decent. Flying Fighting's a good typing. It's basically budget Galarian Zapdos. It's just kind of sucks in its design. It's literally just a Flamingo. I will say, its name, and it's Flamigo, it's supposed to be like a flamenco dancer. No, it's a fucking flamingo. It's a normal animal. This is an ordinary animal, and I will die on that hill. One of the worst designs in Gen 9. If not the worst. Purely from this mon, they didn't even try. And I will statement that. So many other mons, it's like, I can give the benefit of the doubt. Even freaking Garbodor, I give the benefit of the doubt. Flamigo, no. You're not getting away with this shit. But now we have the rest of Gen 9. And every one of these slaps. So, Annihilate Annihilate himself. There you are, buddy. You earned that high S tier. Love Annihilate. Sick mon. Such an amazing bond, genuinely. Takes a mon that is pretty fine early on, that needed something extra, and they blew it out of the park. Its entire concept is great. So, Annihilate's lore, if anyone doesn't know. Also, this mon needs to be in Unite. Make this thing a defender in Unite, and we will all be very happy. Annihilate is... the whole point of it is a Primeape that got so angry, its anger consumed it, and it died, but it's too angry to stop, so it keeps on going despite being dead. That's Annihilate's lore. Annihilate is literally a Primeape that got so angry it died and just kept on going. I love it. Easily the best monkey Pokemon. I will stand on that hill. It is the example of not every monkey Pokemon is bad. I don't hate every monkey Pokemon. Annihilate is awesome. One of the best Gen 9 Pokemon. Comfortably. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's up there. And I only don't say it's the best because of the very, very stiff competition. Okay. Like this one. Great Tusk. I love this thing. This one is one of my favorite Paradox mons. Genuinely. Great Tusk is an amazingly cool Pokemon. One of my favorite 3 Paradoxes of all. For reference, I discount Koraidon and Miraidon as Paradoxes. They are technically Paradoxes, but they are a bit... I put them into a different standard. Great Tusk is such an amazing design. Donphan is cool as a mon outright. And they made Draconic Mammoth Donphan, which just looks so good. It is the exemplification of just... you look at that thing and go... that's a prehistoric monster. Like, that's something for prehistory. That's a dinosaur. That's like a megafauna. It just is. It's the poster child Paradox for a reason. It's the best example of it. And it's one of my top 3 favorites, genuinely. It's this one, Roaring Moon, and Fluttermane are my top 3 Paradoxes. I can't tell you which is the order, but all 3 of them basically compete with each other, and yeah. Love these mons so much. There's a lot of very good Paradoxes as well that are hugely awesome, but those 3 particularly stand out for me. Slitherwing, you are also amazing. You are also comfy S tier. I'll put you here, above Zacian Crown. You're great. You're Caveman Volcarona. I like it. I like the more reptilian-y kind of vibe they went. I also love that they made the Volcarona that just punches shit. You're nowhere near as good as Volcarona. You are actively the worst of them. And I will say, Slitherwing, it's worse than Volcarona, and it's worse than the future Paradox of itself. But it's still a great mon in its own right. Like, it has earned its spot, and it's very, very cool. And I'm happy they made 2 versions of Volcarona. Volcarona is a mon that it deserves the 2 alternate forms. Even if both the alternate forms are worse than Volcarona, it still got them, right? Iron Hands, one of my two favorites of the future paradoxes. You are also getting S tier, probably behind Marshadow. Actually, no, you're getting... I'll put you here, but I'll put Marshadow here too. Yeah, I'd say I'm happy with that spot for him. I do love Iron Hands. It's such a fun mon to use. You're on this thing assault vested. It's a lot of the things I was saying about Hariyama earlier of how you can run it. There's a lot of ways to make it good, and it's very fun. You can also do most of the same kind of things with Iron Hands. Obviously, you can't run Flame Orb with it because it doesn't have Guts as an ability. But Iron Hands is a very cool Pokemon. It does so much work, and it's a lot of fun. Genuinely, it's a really fun mon to use. It's basically just Giga Hariyama. And I like that. Also, kind of looks like an Onigiri, and I love its flying hands. Just sick. Iron Valiant, my actual favorite Future Paradox. This is my favorite Future Paradox mons. It's very cool and very good. I will put you here. Oh, here. I love Valiant so much. I've actually got a chance to use the damn thing now. Still don't have it in Pokerogue. It still hates me there. But Iron Valiant is such a fun mon to use. I used my Expert Belt 1 in my doubles UU setup. I have an Iron Valiant. It's such a fun mon to use. It absolutely destroys a lot of Pokemon. And it's great. Genuinely. I like running with Expert Belt because fairy fighting means you're going to be super effective against a lot of things. You get a lot of options with that typing. Because they're both very super effective against a lot of things. Also, the hardest fuck you to Dark type Pokemon ever made. I do really like Valiant. Koraidon! The Dino Bot himself, the Dino Bike. I love you, Koraidon. I'd say Koraidon goes here. Yeah. Amazing shiny. All the Koraidons, basically. I don't know. I don't know why this list has so many versions of Koraidon. But yeah, Koraidon is such a cool mon. I love it. It was an easy pick out of the two. One of my favorite legendaries. Koraidon's great. It's the red dragon. It's the dinosaur as well. It is one of the most dinosaur Pokemon, and I really like it for that. I have huge respect for this mon. Beautiful shiny. You can't actually get the shiny in game, which is very unfortunate, but it's got an amazing shiny. It goes to Rayquaza colors, goes black. The feathers change to like slightly pinkish white. It looks so good. I love Koraidon so much. Amazing Pokemon. And Okidogi. I did talk about this in the Poison tier list, actually. I like Okidogi a lot. I love her in my Assault Vest tanky as fuck build one. It's just a very good mon. In all honesty. You can make this thing super, super tanky and hit very hard, and you can't really do a lot to it. Genuinely, particularly if you give it an Assault Vest. I highly recommend that. Max attack, adamant nature, max health, little bit of speed, Assault Vest. This thing slaps. Yeah, so that is my fighting type tier list. You actually have noticed, yeah, there's a lot I don't like in fighting type. There's a lot in the middle to high tier, though, as well. Fighting type has some absolute stinkers that I despise, and they are some of my least favorite. So there's some on there which are some of my least favorite Pokemon ever. But fighting type also has a lot of amazingly good designed Pokemon. And you'll notice, most of the Pokemon that are in S tier were later designed. I was not kidding when I was saying fighting types got significantly better later into Pokemon. I think the only... Yeah, Gen 3 is the lowest gen that there is even an A tier. Not counting Mega Mutant. Yeah. Then there's a lot of much later gen Pokemon in A and S tier. B tier has a lot of the just fine early gen mons in. But yeah, I thought a lot of the early gen fighting types were just mid. But they got a lot better later on. So yeah. Keep up the good work, Game Freak. You evidently learned that you figured out how to make fighting types cool, because they have been improving significantly over the years. And I think that fighting type has really started to it really pops. So yeah. So you'll rarely see me use a lot of fighting Pokemon in early Pokemon games, but in later Pokemon games, yeah, you see me, you can see me use fighting types quite a bit because there's some really good ones. But yeah, that's our tier list. I'll just leave it up on screen again so people who are like looking at them or taking pictures, because I know there's a friend of mine at least who likes like screen capping them and making the discussion for themselves. But yeah, these were a lot of fun. Once again, yeah, I don't know what the streaming schedule is going to be like this week other than Friday. We know exactly what Friday is going to be. But yeah, do tune in to various bits and bobs and shenanigans as I should be. I've got no idea what we're doing, but it should be fun. And yeah, I'm going to go rest now because, again, doing a 2-hour stream went ill. A little bit if. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Have a fantastic evening, everyone. Keep playing video games. Keep also guys the best from Twitch. Enjoy the games, guys. Have a lovely evening. Nixie will definitely chat at some point about doing a Pokemon Unite stream because I'm down. We'll just have to chat around it or some. But yeah, see you around. I hope I feel better. I should be fine in a couple of days. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. See you around. Good night.